So, Mom, my son said, leaning back in his leather chair, do you like the $5,000 Clara sends you every month? There was a smirk on his face, one I hadn't seen since he was a teenager trying to prove he knew better than me. It was Mother's Day. I'd worn my best dress, brought homemade pie, and the man I raised was looking at me like I was one of his employees asking for a bonus. I smiled, but my heart cracked right down the middle. And that was the moment I decided my son was about to learn what real wealth looks like. If you've ever been underestimated, disrespected, or made to feel small by someone you sacrificed everything for, listen closely. Because what happens next is a story about quiet revenge, dignity, and karma that doesn't need to shout. I used to believe pride had no place between a mother and her children. When you give life to someone, feed them, teach them, clean their scraped knees, you don't keep score. You just love. You trust that one day they'll understand. My son Ethan was my pride and joy. When his father died young, I worked double shifts at a diner to keep him in private school. I went without new clothes for 5 years just so he could have braces. Every time I watched him walk out of the house in a pressed uniform and clean shoes, I told myself it's worth it. And for a while it was. Ethan was smart, ambitious, and grateful, or at least I thought he was. Then came college, business school, success. Suddenly he was Ethan Ward, CEO. Not my son. His phone calls became less frequent, his tone colder. I told myself he was busy. But the truth was simpler. He'd outgrown the woman who'd built him. Then came Clara, his wife. Beautiful, polished, and born into money. She liked to call me darling, in a tone that made it sound like charity case. When Ethan married her, I hoped she'd soften him. Instead, she hardened him further. Soon their conversations with me were like transactions. We've set up a monthly allowance for you, Mom, Ethan said once, as if I'd asked for it. Clara's idea. $5,000 a month should keep you comfortable. I never asked for money. I never needed it. I'd been managing on my own for decades. But refusing his gift would have caused more drama than I wanted. So I smiled and said thank you, knowing full well that money isn't love. It's a substitute for guilt. Fast forward to Mother's Day. Ethan invited me to his mansion in the hills. The driveway alone was longer than my old street. Clara greeted me with a glass of champagne and a hug that didn't reach her eyes. Happy Mother's Day, darling. Ethan's just finishing a call. When he walked in, I barely recognized him. Designer suit, gold watch, that smug calm of someone who thinks they've mastered life. We sat in his glass dining room overlooking the city. I'd brought my homemade apple pie, his favorite as a child. The same one I used to make when we couldn't afford takeout. He poked at it with his fork and smiled politely, like it was an antique he didn't understand. Then came the question that broke me. So, Mom, do you like the $5,000 Clara sends you every month? I froze. It wasn't the words. It was the tone, condescending, detached. Like I was a foundation he sponsored. Clara laughed softly, sipping her drink. We just want to make sure you're comfortable, dear. I felt the burn rise in my chest. I forced a smile. Oh, it's very thoughtful of you, darling. But tell me, Ethan, does it make you feel good to pay your mother like an employee? He chuckled. Come on, Mom. Don't be dramatic. I'm just trying to take care of you. Take care of me? I said quietly. Son, I took care of you. The silence after that was sharp enough to cut glass. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just decided. 2 weeks later, I called my lawyer. What Ethan didn't know was that when his father died, he left me with a small inheritance. I never touched it. Over 30 years with careful savings and investments, it grew quietly, steadily, into something significant. Not billionaire money, but more than Ethan realized. I own property, stocks, and a trust fund. All in my name. I also knew Ethan's company was about to expand into real estate development. The land next to my old house? The one he wanted to buy out. That was mine too. That I spent a few quiet months preparing. I donated part of my savings to a women's shelter in my husband's name. Then, through a legal advisor, I purchased shares in Ethan's company. Enough to attend a shareholders meeting. When the next Mother's Day rolled around, I accepted his invitation again. This time I brought a manila envelope. Clara was wearing diamonds, Ethan had just closed $1 million deal, and both looked at me with that same patronizing smile. Halfway through lunch, I opened the envelope and placed a document on the table. Ethan glanced at it. His confident grin faltered. What's this? It's a transfer notice, I said. I've become one of your shareholders. Small percentage, but enough to attend the meetings. Clara blinked. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of being treated like a charity case. And I thought it might be fun to sit in on a few business discussions. Ethan laughed nervously. Mom, you can't just. I already did. I smiled. Oh, and the land your company wanted to buy? You'll have to negotiate with me for it. It's my property now. Funny how things come full circle, isn't it? For the first time, Ethan had nothing to say. His jaw tightened, his eyes darted to Clara, who looked like she'd bitten into something sour. The silence stretched. Then I leaned forward. You once asked if I like the $5,000 Clara sends me every month. The answer is no, Ethan. I don't like it. Because you can't put a price tag on motherhood. I stood, straightened my coat, and added, but thank you for reminding me how powerful respect really is when it's gone. I left them there, speechless in their glass palace, surrounded by everything money could buy and none of what it couldn't. The next month, I received an invitation to Ethan's next shareholder meeting. I declined. I didn't need to attend. I'd already made my point. Sometimes revenge doesn't need to humiliate, it just needs to balance the scales. People often ask if I forgave him. The truth? I didn't need to. He forgave himself the moment he realized money couldn't buy back dignity. I still bake apple pie every Mother's Day. But now I do it for the women at the shelter, the ones who know that love measured in dollars isn't love at all. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And remember, real wealth isn't measured in what you own. It's measured in who remembers where they came from.